Maybe the allure of these older 22s is the mystery that usually comes along with them. This is a single shot bolt action Stevens Model 15A. Definitely made before serial numbers. Stevens didn't keep any records. It's a subsidiary of Savage. They didn't keep any records. Most of the books I have don't even list this gun. But I think that's what makes it mysterious. Trying to do that research and find out what it is that makes these special. Well, I found some stuff. Let's go check it out. Milsurp Garage. So yeah, it's a Stevens Model 15A. It's a single shot bolt action. There's no mag, there's no tube, there's no nothing. You put in each individual round, and even closing the bolt doesn't even cock it. You gotta do everything here. You gotta cock this on your own. And boy, when I tell you that this gun is simple, when we're talking about simple, but it has its complexities, but it's definitely not in the parts. But there'll be some interesting stuff with the designs. Let's check it out. Let's cover some basics here, though. This gun was made from 1936 to 1965. But from 36 to 48, it was made under the Springfield brand. We've had a couple of those Stevens, those Savage guns back in the day on the channel that were Springfield named. 36 to 48, and from 48 to 65, they were under the Stevens name. Believe it or not, yet I have not been able to break that down any closer to find out what this one is. So 1948 to 1965, where the date for this one is going to have to lie. Now, I don't know if this checkering is original. I've never really seen one online for sale anywhere with checkering like this. So somebody might have actually had this done. But boy, if they did, let me tell you, I'm going to bring you in close. And checkering is good on a rifle this old. If I could bring you in this close. Look at this checkering. Look at how beautiful that is. This is factory. And this thing is in great shape if that's the case, because this checkering is sharp. The border lines on it. Those points. Nice. So, I don't know if that's original, but if it is, this makes it kind of like a special one, And it looks like one of the reasons why I think it might not be original is because it looks like somebody did a really nice pine tar coating on this stock too, which it makes it where I'm not going to be able to get out of the action. It's just this one takedown screw, and it's supposed to just pop out like most of these do, but it's not popping out. And up here, there's some movement. Even now, you could see the movement, but here, where the screw goes through, and there's the locking post here that beds the stock right in this area. It might have been that it was wet with pine tar when it was put together. It might have even been that somebody glued it to bed it good. I don't know, but it's so tight that I did all of my little tricks except for heat. I could have left it in really, really strong sun for a while and see if that melted anything, but you know what? Didn't appear to be any rust underneath anything or where I was looking. It looked pretty clean, so I just left it. I was afraid of breaking this beautiful stock, so I just figured maybe it's better at this point to leave it alone. So we're not going to be able to get in there to check out how simple it is, but it's kind of cool that I got some literature that we could do that with. First of all, let me just tell you that I have this book, okay? Stevens and Savage Arms by J. Kimmel. You would think, you'd say, oh, great, of course, it's a collector's history. And it's the 5th edition. This book's been around forever. Stuff since the late 1800s. And look at it. Boom, it's like tons of material. Yeah, it's going to be in here or whatever. I'm here. I'm table of contenting this thing here. Here's Savage. Here's Stevens. Here's the table of contents. You look all you want. There's no 15A here. It's not in this book. Right. I don't know how that's even possible with the amount of Stevens and Savage stuff that's in here. But that book is it's honestly it's a bit of a mess. Not that I don't recommend the book. It still has a ton of information. It's just not a good book for research. It's a good book for like, you just open it at any page when you're like on the toilet or something for like 10 minutes worth of reading, and then you close it, because wherever you open it, you don't know where you're going to be, and you just close it. You just open it someplace else next time. Instead, to get some information, any information, we're going to go to the Encyclopedia of Modern Firearms. This is the Brownell book. Yes, this book will never let you down. So here it is. It's amazing how, they're really only selling this many of the parts. You figure, why are they leaving so many parts out, right? They're not leaving anything out. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, this right here is the entire gun. You believe that? It's true. It's the trigger mechanism and the sear bar that really, I've seen bolts that have a few pieces like this or whatever, and the one-piece stock isn't a big deal. A trigger guard that just screws in, that's not a big deal. A takedown screw, a one-piece barrel like that or whatever, not that big of a deal. But it's the fact that like these 4 pieces right here constitute the entire trigger mechanism. That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy. And I think is there a little bit, yeah, see, and back here, it'll show, so this 15A, you're like, what is the A? That's even a tough amount of research, but the 15, I think at some point, they came up with the AB thing for the sights. I think maybe the A became just the open sights. At some point, it was just one version of the sights, I think. I'm not really sure about this. This is just what I'm gathering from my research, but I didn't actually read this. You see 15 listed a lot, and it always looks the same way. And then when it goes to 15A and 15B, I think that might have been a little later on. That's why this one might be towards the later end of the 48 to 65 range. Might be towards the late 50s into the early 60s, let's say. Because I think it went to A for the open sights and B for either a receiver groove for the scope or screw holes for a mount or something like that. Something that had to do with the sights for the B model. And or it might have even just had different open sights, something like that. Then there's this 15Y that was a youth model that was considerably smaller. But here it gives you some information. This 24-inch one would be the one that was the Stevens one from 48 to 65. That Springfield version, I think it might have had a 22-inch barrel. And the youth model is where does it say the barrel length? It says, is it a 21-inch barrel? But then it's the stock. It's the stock that's much smaller. It's a very, very shortened stock, which makes it. You can see the difference here just in the part that you're shouldering here is much smaller. But the Y was a youth model. It's a pretty small. Overall length was 35 1/4 compared to 40 inches. So that's a pretty big difference there, in the size. And yeah, see, that's what's cool. Look at the Stevens guns that they list here in this book. I couldn't find anything anywhere. I looked through all my books. I got nothing. That's all I got. But what I do have is who designed this thing. Nicholas L. Brewer. 3 patents. Okay. Boom. Let's check out these patents. Oh, I love doing the patents. You know what? We'll get the rifle up here in a little bit. Go over it in close detail, but let's check out these patents. So first of all 3 of these were issued in 1937. And the first one here we have is for rebounding striker construction for firearms. And here's this extremely simplistic trigger mechanism. The trigger is a bar that goes all the way up here that sticks in a recess in the bolt. That's that one piece. See it? It goes here, curves around, comes up here, underneath the bolt, and sticks into a recess in the bolt. Even though I can't get the action out of the wood, we're going to be able to see that. And here is the bolt, inside of the bolt that they're so here's that sear sticking into the bottom of it. Here's it showing the firing pin, springs. And I love reading. I'm starting to get better and better at this, reading these. Look at how much information is there. You wouldn't think so, but man, they describe these things right down to the T. Then what do we got here? So this is November 8th, 1937 to N.L. Brewer. Is that when? Oh, this is when they were filed. And I guess this is when they were granted. 39, 40, and 41. I'm sorry. So yeah, this is when they were granted, all a year apart, but this was the first one. They all filed at the same time. This is for, it just says rifle. And it's going to go a little bit more in depth here. Showing the barrel with the round chamber, the bolt face, how the extractor works. It's all drafted out here. And then, and again, all these patents are, it says Nicholas L. Brewer, Agawam, Massachusetts, assigner to Savage Arms Corporation, New York, New York, a corporation of Delaware. So all these were filed. The assigner was Savage Arms. Look at the text here. So you want to break down exactly how this thing works. Oh my God, look at that. That's like an hour's worth of reading right here. And the last one, trigger and sear mechanism for firearms. And here it is once again. These drawings are very similar. I guess, wow, that is sick. And yep, there it is. There are Nicholas L. Brewer's Savage designer. The company, I mean. He was savage also, because this is pretty savage right here. So you see the trigger. This doesn't just pivot right here and connect to all kinds of springs and movements and all kind of complicated stuff everybody else uses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bolt out like holding the trigger, and you pull the bolt right out. But I'm going to show you that by pulling the trigger here, I'm just dropping that bar right there. This is all so simple. Look in there. See how simple this is? And that just sticks in a recess here in the bolt. Right here, I find this collar actually, I think. So you could see it when the bolt is actually in place. You could see back there where it's gonna catch. Watch when I pull the cocking piece back. Watch. So it locks in there, and that's it. That's the whole. That's the sear right there, breaking loose to fire it. Cock it every time. You got to cock it on your own. Very safe for like a boy's rifle for a kid, because the kid can fumble with the round, fumble with getting the bolt closed. You don't have to worry that he pulls the trigger when the bolt's just as the bolt closes and it goes into battery. You don't have to worry about any of that. You teach the kid everything to do, and then it's like until this is touched, and when this is touched, this is a tough pull right here. This is no joke. You got to really wrench that back. I can imagine that could even be hard for a kid, as hard as it is to pull that. So then there's no mistakes when they're loading. You know what I'm saying? Let's check it out. I didn't take them out, but let's get out the these are the new 22 caliber realistic snap caps. Look at how awesome these things are. I love the fact that I don't have to mess with chippy aluminum with paint on it and all this crap anymore. And these, it's always best you don't drop the hammer on these because you'll dent them. If you want to just keep them to use for function testing like this, just to make sure, like, you know, you could test this with just empty shell casings to test to see how the firing pin is hitting, which I did. Where do I have it? Is it right here? Is that the way? Yeah, is that the hit that it gave it? No, I don't think so. Let's test that first. So you see what's on here already. Right by the top of the F, there's that punch right there. So let's just throw this in and hope it doesn't hit in the same spot. I'm going to be a scientist about it instead of struggling with it. I'm just going to use a tool. It's not easy to get the empty cases in. For some reason that one felt a little snug. Let's see. I got others. I'd rather use. I got some others. Do I have others? Where are the others? I'm digging, baby. All right, here's one. What does this look like? I think this might have been the one that I hit already. Look at how they made some dent. Let's just put this one in and make another dent. Yeah, that one goes in nice. And like that, and boom. There you go. And ejection's working good. Let's see, did it? Oh yeah, it's caving them in, man. Woof. That's a strong firing pin. I don't care what kind of 22 ammo you put in there. There's not going to be any kind of like light strike nonsense going on. If it don't go off, don't even bother trying to like redo it. Just throw that round away because that's a serious shot right there. So yeah, and these now, we know with the case that it worked, but you just it's much easier to load it with the with the actual round. You can see how it closes over the rim, and then you cock it, boom, and whoa, there you go. It's gone. There we go. We're down a snap cap. Let's go. Give them a call. Realistic snap caps. Let's go. Order another batch. Use coupon code Milsurp Garage. We'll get 10% off, just like everybody else. The cat's gonna be playing with that one, but that's all right. We'll call them disposable. Anything for you guys. So what else? Let's I really wish I had a ton of history to talk about, but there is this one other thing. You ever heard of Carlos Hathcock? If you haven't heard of this guy, look him up. He was a decorated U.S. Marine sniper during Vietnam that had like some crazy amount of confirmed kills and an even crazier amount of kills that they were estimated kills. The confirmed ones are huge enough, but this guy he has all these crazy stories. He's written books. There's some stories about how he was all covered up in camouflaged and laying there in his sniper position and had to remain quiet. The enemy kind of took over an area, and he said they were like stepping on him. They walked by and like stepped on him like they thought he was the ground. That's how close the enemy was to him. And you ever seen Saving Private Ryan with the sniper? The bullet goes right through the scope and hits him in the eye. Supposedly that story came from this guy, that it's an actual story, that he did that when he saw the glint of a sniper scope and shot and got the guy. And when they went in there to confirm it that he got the guy or whatever, that he had shot right through the guy's scope. And that's where they got that story from. All right, so that guy, Carlos Hathcock, it's documented that this was his boy's rifle, that this was the first gun that this kid toted around with. There's like photos, everything. And it was a Stevens Model 15A. I've seen it a couple of places where they misidentify it, but it is. I've seen pictures. It was a 15A. So that's a pretty cool, badge of honor right there on it, right there. You think you'd see more on these things, but they are really hard to find information on. Crazy. So let's take a really close look at it. So again, like I said, the checkering, the stock on this one is absolutely gorgeous. The butt plate is interesting. Look at the butt plate. It's not like a screwed on butt plate. The butt plate itself, just the wood, is checkered like a butt plate. Oh, look at that chip right there. I did not do that. I got it this way. Oh, you know what we could do? I got a cool idea. What we could do is, let me see. Yeah, I got it right here. This is my, I hope it didn't dry out. This would be really anticlimactic. This is my Pro Mark II Mohawk Heartwood Walnut paint pen. Oh, it feels like there's liquid in there. Let's see, let me just give it a little test on something. Oh, it's good. It's wet. It's working. Check this out. I love this thing. Get in there. You don't go crazy. But you can make these a whole lot less visible. See that? I'm not gonna make, a actual missing piece of wood disappear. I mean, but it just takes that edge off. I'd let that soak in and I'd hit it one more time. And it just kind of, when it's the same color, it just makes it look a little bit less. Makes it look like a depression instead of a chip, at least. I don't know, the depression is that it's there to begin with, because that's depressing. It's so beautiful, a little chip like that. I mean, I can imagine there's a lot of people out there with 15As. They're going to be like, if you're going to complain about a chip like that, you should see what mine looks like. A lot of them that you see are absolutely dogged. Stevens, it always works better if I bring the camera to the rifle instead of the rifle to the camera. Savage Arms Corporation, Chicopee Falls, Massachusetts. 22 short, long, or long rifle. Model 15A. There's the 3 patent numbers right there. No mystery where those come from. Listen, guys, take this number. When you get guns like this, right? Take this number. This is how easy it is to do this. I don't see one other person on YouTube like looking at the patents and saying who the designer is. I mean, isn't that interesting at all? There's no hidden stuff here. They have these patents right there, even ones this old. Just put in a Google search, U.S. patent. You have to put U.S. unless it's like a Belgian gun. It might actually be different patents. But if you don't put the U.S., they use, like, obviously the same number system in Europe and like that. So you might see you might see a patent for like a flower pot, and you'd be like, what the hell is that? But it's a British patent, or it's a patent from from Germany or something like that. So you put U.S. patent and then that number on any of the guns that you have, and check out what the actual patents are. What was patented on them? Yeah, look at that wood. Dang, this thing looks nice. And strange when I don't have a lot of information. I'm looking around. I don't have anything. That's it. There's nothing else in my book. We got no serial number ranges to talk about. No capacity to talk about. This is a cute little bolt, though. Let's take a look at the bolt. That's interesting, right? So what happens is when you fire the striker, is it a striker? What would you call that? This is locked back. It comes forward. This would be locked back. It comes forward. It hits this and pushes this out. So that's the firing pin. So that's the firing pin shot. And then when you open the bolt and you cycle it back, the back of this hits into something and pushes it out again to eject it. So the firing pin is the ejector, and this here is the extractor. So let's see if it's possible to see any of that in motion. So when you fire, the firing pin would be in the forward position. Hold on. But it it would hit the brass. Let's see, there's a way to show you this. It would hit the brass. So let's push it back. So now it's in the retracted position, as if it hit the brass, but the brass is stopping it from coming out any further. Now watch as I open the bolt. You see it's going to hit something that's going to cause, see that? And then the firing pin comes out again. And when it comes out again, that's the extractor now. Sorry, the ejector, not the extractor, the ejector. So it acts as both. How cool is that? And if you look right here, the extractor kind of cams against this angled piece of the front of the chamber right here to locate, kind of adds resistance to keep the bolt from just flopping around. That kind of cams against there. So yeah, I could see how the tip of that could wear out. If you got like a floppy bolt, refuses to stay closed, that would be the issue. But there's some parts knocking around for these. Numrich, Jack First. There's parts, I've seen them just looking around doing research. It's got a lot of parts websites, a lot of them here and there for sale. Popular, but just not really that much information. I just wish it was broken down more with, how to date them. But you know what? They just didn't change much. So what are you going to do? So that's the Stevens Model 15A. I appreciate you tuning in. Hang around with the channel. Subscribe. Like some stuff. Comment. Stay a while. And we'll have some really cool stuff on the way. See you all later.